Yo, what is up guys? It's Pedro here, and in today's video I'll be bringing you guys my first 2024 mock draft for the Washington Commanders. We're going to be doing the first 3 rounds, going to be going over a bunch of different potential scenarios. If you guys are new, make sure to subscribe, hit that like button and that notification bell as well so you never miss a video. Alright, so let's get into it. So first mock draft of the offseason for me. Usually I honestly do a couple during the season, especially when it's a bad season, so unlike me to not do one, but I'm not gonna, chit chat too much. Let's get right into it. We know what's gonna happen at 2 in terms of what position the Commanders are taking. It's gonna be quarterback, and the question is is it gonna be Jayden Daniels? Is it gonna be UNC's Drake Maye? And then maybe the dark shot of JJ McCarthy, national champion out of Michigan. I don't think that's gonna happen, but those are the 3 scenarios that I think could happen. Don't think a trade back is happening because, if you have the number 2 overall pick, you want to say you got the second best quarterback in the class. And if you're willing to trade back and potentially miss out on that guy, that shows you just weren't that high on the guy. So I'm going to go. I like Jayden Daniels over Drake Maye. That's what I personally think. PFF has a very different opinion on it. They have him as a 3rd-ranked quarterback, or 3rd-ranked. Drake Maye as a 3rd-ranked prospect, and Jayden Daniels is the 21st. ADP is a little bit different, way different for Jayden Daniels. But I think, Jayden Daniels overall, I think brings more to the table than Drake Maye. He has a higher floor, maybe a little bit of a lower ceiling than Drake Maye as a passer. But I think, he has a lot, very, very high ceiling as a runner too. I'm going to take Jayden Daniels here, but I think it's going to be between these two. I know, there's some reports that are saying it's going to be Jayden Daniels, some that's going to be Drake Maye. And I know a lot of people in the comments when I was talking about, it might be Drake Maye, like even though I said I think it's going to be Jayden, people are like, no, what are you talking about? Like, there's no shot. Guys, we really don't know until they draft whoever it is. They can have, they're going to have a lot of smoke screens and stuff like that. We really don't know who it's going to be until draft day. And yeah, but I like Jayden Daniels. Not going to talk about him too much because we've talked about him a lot. 6'4", 210 pounds, 40 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, just passing. That's passing. And then you also had, I think he had 10 rushing touchdowns and over 1,000 yards. So 50 touchdowns to 4 interceptions. Maybe had a few fumbles as well. Not completely sure there, but just an absolute amazing season. Played 5 seasons. Really 4 because the 2020 season barely played, but had a really solid, I would say, 2019 season. 2020 was good when he played. 2021 wasn't good. 2022 was good. 2023 was outstanding, and he won the Heisman. Biggest issue with him is not necessarily the weight, but how he, because of the weight, he has to be more careful with his body and the way he, takes hits, and he isn't. And it, leads to a bunch of big hits, some fumbles, and, some injuries. And you just don't want that in your franchise quarterback. And then there's some other things as well. It takes, too many sacks. His pressure to sack ratio is pretty high, higher than a lot of the other quarterbacks. And, there are some quarterbacks that are able to overcome that stat, but it is usually a good indicator of failure in the NFL. But there are exceptions. And I think Jayden Daniels will be one of those exceptions for, I'm hoping, but you never know with these guys. But, I would be happy with Drake Maye as well. I really just don't want JJ McCarthy, and, it wouldn't be the end of the world. I'm going to trust Adam Peters, but I'd rather have Jayden Daniels or Drake Maye. But now let's get into our second round picks. And this one might be a little bit controversial, at least the pick I'm about to make. So you see the best players available here. You got Tyler Nubin, safety out of Minnesota. Maybe the Commanders could go safety, but they got Jeremy Chin, and they got some young guys in Quan Martin, Percy Butler. Are they completely fine there? Not necessarily, but I don't think they need, and they got Derek Forrest as well. I don't think they need to go after a guy in the second round. You got Peyton Wilson. They really revamped that linebacking core. Zach Frazier. Don't think they need a center after, signing Tyler Biotish and then a couple other guys as well. Ladd McConkey is a very intriguing pick here because the Commanders did lose Curtis Samuel, And, De'Ami Brown's going to be a free agent. Terry's good, obviously, but, Jahan had a down year. Who knows what's up with him? Like, we got one stud at receiver, and then after that, we got question marks in De'Ami, in, what's his name, Jahan, and then, Zakay, whatever, the guy at UVA who he signed from the Eagles and the Falcons. He played there. Go Hokies, by the way. But, yeah, I think, we could use a receiver. I was even thinking maybe I'm not going to trade up in this, and I think, you need PFF Premium to do that. Might get that to do a full mock draft, but I think you could possibly trade back into the first round to get someone like Brian Thomas, who played at LSU with Jayden Daniels to help out your quarterback. But in this, or I think what would be better is trade back into the first and get a tackle. You look at the guys, maybe you could have gotten a Jackson Powers Johnson, the center, but you see Amarius Mims, Graham Barton, like a lot of tackles went in that like 15 to 25 range. So a lot of guys that you can go after, like 4 or 5 that went in that range. But I'm going to go ahead and take Ladd McConkey here. A good, versatile receiver for the Commanders. You look at his stats, over his overview, 6 foot, 185 pounds. Mostly a slot receiver. Had 2 touchdowns, averaged 16 yards a catch, and 478 yards this past year. Did miss a lot of games because of ankle injuries. I think he missed some games in 2022 because of that as well. 762 yards and 7 touchdowns in 2022. And you can see some of his, his overview here. His 40-yard dash time, 4.39, is blazing. Vertical leap is good, 236 inches. Bench is fine. And you see some of his, his overview. Redshirt in 2020. 2021 All-SEC team, or freshman All-SEC team. Second team All-SEC in 2022. And you can see some of his other stats as well. Obviously, won the national championship in 2021 and 2022. Was a key part of those teams. His NFL comparisons, Elijah Moore. I've seen Antonio Brown as well as, his NFL comparison. I've seen him even mocked in the late first round. So getting him in the second, I would say, is pretty solid value for the Washington Commanders, and a guy that I think right away will be a game changer and a contributor for you. Maybe not a game changer, but he'll be a contributor for sure. Year one, 700 to 900 yards, and maybe after that can turn into a really good number 2 or good, or low tier number 1. I think that's what you can expect out of Ladd McConkey. So I would love this pick in the second round for the Washington Commanders, even though it might be a little bit unpopular. Okay, so now to our second round pick. I really find it hard to believe we're going to take a player at 36 and 40. I think we'll either trade back into the first or maybe even trade up from this 36 to like 33 or 34, or trade back. I don't know. I think we're going to move because it's so close, picks right here, 36 and 40, that I think we'll try to move around there. But we already, helped out our, young quarterback in Jayden Daniels with, Ladd McConkey, and I think we can help him out as well with another offensive lineman here. You see some of the best players available. I always like to do best player available at position of need. And also, this PFF board isn't necessarily my board, so just keep that in mind. Also, some of these players I just don't really know that much about. You got Troy Franklin, receiver out of Oregon, who's a beast. You could go Chris Broswell, edge rusher out of Alabama. I'm going to help out Jayden Daniels even more and take Kingsley Suamataia, probably mispronouncing that. We'll just do a little basic overview of him. Played in 11 games in 2023, 12 in 2022, and 1 in 2021. Played college football at BYU. You look at his offensive snaps played right here, his run block snaps, pass block snaps. Would be a solid pick, in my opinion, in the second round here, and a guy hopefully you can stick in at left tackle right away and have him as a starter. 6'6", 315 pounds. He's a big guy, 21 years old. His overview: impressive overall athlete with difference-making explosiveness and power in the run game. Whether blocking in man/gap or zone concepts, he has upper and lower body strength to dive into plays. In pass pro, his footwork is natural for a player of his size, but he doesn't move laterally as well as he does forward. Where he is a dream athlete for tackles, inexperience leaves his technique raw and inconsistent. His hand placement, timing are a work in progress, and at times he can be more of a shover than a true blocker. So you're going to need some development for him, but hey, it's going to be a rebuild here. I'm with it. So draft him and put him at left tackle. Would not mind it at all. Or you can play him at right tackle, move Wiley to left tackle, whatever you want to do. Not a big Wiley guy, but it seems like he's going to be the starter for us this year. So we're going to go ahead and take him, and those are our first 3 picks. We got a couple more, and then we are done. All right, now to our first third round pick, and the more, the deeper and deeper we get into the draft, the least analysis, or the less analysis I'm going to give on these players because I know less and less about them, more about the position that we're taking. So right here, a lot of the best players available are receiver. Don't think we need one. Would I hate it if we took one? No, but I think we're fine there. You got linebacker, you got cornerback, you got edge rusher. So for me, really, it's between Braylon Trice and Kyrie Jackson. We could go with either one right here. We did sign a few edge guys. We did not really bring in anyone at cornerback besides Mike Davis or Mike Thomas, the cornerback from the Los Angeles Chargers. I'm going to go ahead and take Kyrie Jackson here from Oregon. You see his stats right here: 3 interceptions in 2023, played in 12 games, allowed 200 yards, 19 receptions. You guys can see his coverage snaps right here as well. Again, not a lot of analysis for him, but I do think we need another corner. You got St. Juice and you got Emmanuel Forbes, but you really need some other guys in there as well. So I'm going to go ahead and take Kyrie Jackson. Quan Martin might be able to play slot for you as well, but I do want to bring in some other comp and some other guys that you can develop to maybe be a good starter. He's from Maryland, and you guys can see his skill set is a press man cornerback, tall and good size, 6'3", 195 pounds. That's what you want in a cornerback. So we're going to go ahead and take him, and not even a cut. We're going to keep on going. I think we got 2 more picks. So right here, you got best player available as a running back, receiver, and edge rusher. You got a tackle there as well. So we went with cornerback last. I'm going to go ahead and take edge rusher right here, Austin Booker. He had 9 sacks for Kansas, 2 QB hits. You see some of his stats there. Hopefully, he's not going to probably play a lot in his rookie year, but you can maybe, develop him into a situational pass rusher in his rookie year, and then maybe second season he can be a starter for you, and that's the dream. So we're going to take Austin Booker right here with our second, third round pick, and we're going to get one more before we call it a day. So got some quarterbacks available. Michael Pratt out of Tulane, safety, you got running back. So I think we do need another tight end. I wouldn't mind it here in the third round. Take Eric All. Iowa has developed a lot of really good tight ends. Didn't have a lot of production this past year, 300 yards, but he only played 7 games. But yeah, Iowa really knows how to develop those tight ends, 3 touchdowns. And hopefully our tight end coach is able to develop him into a solid tight end for the Commanders, and you bring in another guy to potentially help out your young QB in Jayden Daniels. So I'm going to take him, and that's going to complete our draft. Probably not going to get a great grade for this draft because I did take Jayden Daniels at 1. I guess they gave me a good grade here. So A, B+, A-, whatever. Overall, A- grade. Don't really care about the grade too much, but that's kind of how it all played out. Let me know what you guys think about this mock draft, what you guys will grade it, and I'll probably come out with 1 or 2